Crime is not really something that I like to do on this channel. I think that it is overdone and there's a lot of people who do this sort of things. However, this is one of the most interesting cases of true crime that I've personally ever encountered, right? It was an attempt to essentially implicate Slipknot into one of the most gruesome and strange murders that South Africa has ever seen. South Africa is an incredibly dangerous place to live, right? And for a murder to make international news, something big had to have happened, right? This is the story of the samurai killing, a gentleman who went to his high school, cut off another student's head, and blamed it on Slipknot. Crazy story. So, the story begins with Morne Harmse. Look at this photo of him. Look at that boy in the striped pajamas haircut. That boy in the striped pajamas pullover. That boy in the striped pajamas button shirt. You just know that if there was a very important day that the boy in the striped pajamas guy had to attend, that's exactly what he would wear. Now, he's a young man, right? He was 17 years old. 17 years old when he killed a grade 9 student. So let's kind of run through some of this. So this is where it actually took place. This is the actual school, right? It's called Nick Diedrichs Technical High School. That is the name of the school. It's nothing special about it. It's just a government-based school in South Africa. But you can tell by looking at this photo that it's kind of like low budget, right? Most schools in South Africa are kind of shitty, unfortunately. And this seems to be one of those kind of like low budget versions of South African high schools, right? At about 7 a.m., Harmse arrived at school in his school uniform wearing a brown mask and with black paint on his face. The mask was reported to be an imitation of the one Slipknot lead vocalist Corey Taylor wears, which Harmse had referred to as the maggot mask. But the media claimed that it resembled Joey Jordison's own mask and not Taylor's. We'll get to that. 2 other masks were found in Harmse's bag, a clown mask from a Hollywood costume store similar to Sean Crahan's, and a handmade paper mache mask with drilled holes and painted with tribal marks. 3 samurai swords were also found in his bag, including a Seziko ninja sword and a small katana. I always wanted a katana as a kid. I always thought they were cool to kind of have them on your wall. Now I know why my mom said no. At about 7:20 a.m., during an assembly for a congregation, Harmse took out his 60-centimeter samurai sword and slashed 16-year-old pupil Jacques Pretorius's neck, killing him immediately. Harmse walked down a passage and slashed 17-year-old Stefan Bauer on the head and was immediately confronted by 2 school groundskeepers, Joseph Kodiseng and Simon Malamela, who were both slashed and injured. All 3 were taken to hospital. Harmse's attack was concluded when he sat down on a brick wall and stuck the sword in the ground, which was grabbed by his younger brother, Corneille. You notice how I said brother? Who was standing nearby. At about 7:45 a.m., Harmse was escorted to the principal's office and 15 minutes later was arrested by police without incident. He was temporarily held in the custody of the Krugersdorp police station. They took him to the principal's office, bro. This dude just cut off another kid's head and they go, Morne, what are you doing here, son? You know what this means? Straight to the principal's office with you, boy. You're gonna get 6 of the best. You don't come around here cutting people's heads off. Where? No. That it's explicitly in the rule books of the school. No cutting off of heads. You hear me? Anyway, on August 20th, 2008, Harmse was charged with 1 count of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder at the Krugersdorp Magistrates Court. He was later sent to the Sterkfontein Psychiatric Hospital for mental health evaluation. On the 25th of October, after 2 consecutive months of mental health evaluation and 2 postponements of the court date, Harmse was ruled to be mentally fit by Magistrate Joachim Norkie. These names, I know, sound crazy. A lot of people say that Afrikaans is like the harshest language because it's all rrrs and ars, Norkie, Morne, Corne. I know. The case was transferred to the South Gauteng High Court in Johannesburg for trial in front of Judge Gerardus Hatting. On 14th of April 2009, Harmse pleaded guilty to all 4 charges and was sentenced to 20 years of imprisonment. Now, let's have a look at some of these photos, right? This is him on the actual day of the killing. Now, you're looking at this, and I know it's a little bit blurry, right? But I read a book on this. Him and his friends had orchestrated a murder for days leading up to this actually happening. Him and a few of his friends were very scared about the idea of everybody forgetting about them. Them finishing high school, matric, as they call it there, and then essentially disappearing into nothingness. So they orchestrated a plan to kill a bunch of individuals. They were inspired by Columbine. Days prior, they were texting each other. One guy had said he was going to bring a bomb. The other guy said he was going to try and get one of his dad's pistols. They set a date to do it, but then all of them chickened out except Morne. They were all questioned eventually, and all of the other guys said, "We thought it was just a joke. We didn't think he was being serious." Now, Morne had gotten really into Slipknot, right? So he wanted to make a statement by killing off a bunch of people at his school while wearing the mask of his favorite band. And something you have to realize as well is this was during the time where Slipknot was kind of seen to be this evil band, at least in South African terms, right? I was around at that stage, so I saw it. I saw it firsthand. And South Africa doesn't really get affected too much by American culture, at least not back then, right? So they saw glimpses of Slipknot music videos and these very scary face masks, and immediately there was this connotation made between evil and them. I mean, it does not help that Morne publicly stated that the reason he committed these acts was because of Slipknot. He tied it to the band as well as Satanism. They found Ouija boards and something called spell books, whatever the hell that is, in his room. But besides that, that's what he pushed was the reasoning. To be honest, a lot of individuals say that he only pushed it that way to try and absolve himself from any responsibility and get a lesser charge. This is the child that he ended up killing, Jacques Pretorius. A young man, only grade 9, cut down in a completely random attack. How heartbreaking is that? Here's some of the interesting bits, right? This is what they found in his school bag or on his person. So what you're looking at there is 3 different samurai swords. I think that's 3. It could be on the further side. It could be one samurai sword in its holder, then another one in the middle. I can't see what's on the opposite end there in front of the masks. Those look like knee pads and elbow pads. I mean, if you're gonna go killing, safety first, bro. And then those are the masks, right? Here's a better photo of the side of some of the masks. All of them handmade. So he had paper mache this, put these like wires or little ropes out of them to make it look like Joey Jordison's mask. And then the one at the bottom, I think that's the clown mask that he had bought from a Hollywood store. Here's a photo of him in court with his parents, crying, you know. "Oh no, my son's just killed someone." That's rough, dude. That's insane. I can't believe you do this. And this is another photo of his parents looking down at him. Dad's obviously pissed. He had to take a day off work for this. He's like, "Come on, son. I'm only joking." It's a terrible situation all around, right? And this is the most recent photo of Morne, right? This was found on the dad's personal Facebook, actually. It's not a public image. So what you're looking at here is the most recent available photo of Morne. So now let's focus on the blame on Satanism and media. So in the aftermath of the attacks, blame was put on Satanism, which Harmse took an interest in. Harmse claimed that Satan had told him to do it and that he had followed the practice of Satanism. When police executed a search in his room, they found disturbing elements of Satanism that included Ouija boards and spell books. Now, as I said, I read a book about this. He actually had a homemade Ouija board. You know, I don't know if that has the same amount of devil capability, but there you have it. Heavy metal act Slipknot was also blamed for the attacks, as Harmse had obtained masks resembling those of the band members and was reportedly listening to the band months before. He was listening to a song called "People Equal Shit" on the morning of him doing the killing. You know, which I don't get, man. Whenever I listen to that tune, it makes me want to go off into a nice, driftful sleep. But hey, he had claimed that upon listening to Slipknot, he had lost control of his body and had a mind of his own. So then Corey Taylor actually responded to this, right? Because as you can imagine, this was like big news. Like, hey, Corey Taylor, people are saying that you made someone murder a guy. Is this true? Corey was obviously like, what are you talking about, dude? So he said, obviously, I'm disturbed by the fact that people were hurt and someone died. As far as my responsibility for that goes, it stops there. Because I know our message is actually very positive. I'm not encouraging anybody to kill anyone. I encourage our fans to express themselves, to stick together, and to help each other. Now, I don't know. I don't think that's the case, right? I don't really listen to a lot of Slipknot. I listen to a little bit of Slipknot, but never have I listened to a very aggressive Slipknot song and afterwards put my headphones down and gone, wow, I'm so pleased. I'd like to go and make friends with someone. It's always just like hard stuff, right? It is definitely not murder music. But then again, what is murder music? In 2022, Morne was granted parole. He had moved back in with his parents in Krugersdorp, where the family of the victims still live, right? Like I did some research, and the son, the other son, Morne, so Morne's brother, the one who like picked up the sword and like was like, what are you doing, bro? He still went to that school until he graduated, which I think is insane. Dude, if my son killed somebody at my school, I'll probably take his brother out of there. Probably. I would probably go, The other son, who didn't do the murdering, he's not going to feel comfortable going to that school. Isn't that correct? So I might take him out. I might put him anywhere else where there had not been any killing. But that's just me. Then again, I do understand, right? It's like at least the friends are there, so they might be understanding. And if he goes to another school, they'd be like, oh, you that guy? But to be honest, it's just a shitty situation all around. I don't know. I can't make any judgment based off of this. Anyway, so he got let out, and he is now officially a free man. I try to find some more details on him as to, is he working? What's he doing? But there's not an ounce of information about him past his parole.